Alright, this is the Michael the Comic Nerd review team. We're here this week for Riddick.
Yes, which we saw early last weekend, so it's been a few days since
I
we've...
think we saw it on Friday, Saturday? No, Saturday.
Yes, and it's, like I was saying, it's been a few days since we've seen it, and I'll be honest, I don't remember all of the titles of the trailers.
Trailers, who cares?
Well, Michael does. But
yeah, I know, but I think we should just focus on the meat of the story right now, what little there was.
Yes. So, I was telling you earlier, you've seen more of the films in this series than I have. I saw Pitch Black years ago, and I saw part of one of the other ones, but never all the way through.
Yeah, I've seen, Pitch Black, Dark Fury, and Chronicles of Riddick. And of course, one of them was that animated short that's kind of a bridge between Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick, but I digress.
Which I never heard of, but you know about in your infinite knowledge of this sort of thing.
Yeah, I was a big fan of the franchise, but it's like now after taking film classes, you kind of realize these movies had issues. Although Pitch Black was still serviceable, though, I thought.
I almost didn't want to watch Pitch Black. I saw it when I was living with an ex-boyfriend, and it starts off with all this flashing light, which makes me kind of dizzy. And so after he told me that part of it was over, then I was able to watch Pitch Black and enjoy it, and it's a decent, fun flick.
Yeah.
And my general thought on this latest addition to the series is if you like Pitch Black, you may like this one.
May. Most likely, yeah, because I was not quite in that camp. It's like, for me, I just found it to be just a very relatively uneventful movie, actually.
It has some pacing issues. It starts off so incredibly slowly.
Well, actually, I thought the opening was pretty good, because, basically it starts off with Riddick being marooned on some unknown planet.
With a lot of hostile animal creatures.
Yeah.
Who are very predatory.
Yeah, and, for the most part, I'd say, they did a pretty good job of the opening. It's basically a man versus nature story, just him trying to, regain his animalistic nature, because, as he puts it, he got civilized, and that kind of weakened him a bit. And also, it shows, why he's, considered such a badass.
Which was cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's right off the bat, you see him, fighting off animals. He basically, sticks his leg in between two rocks to set it back into place after getting completely messed up.
Yes.
And drilling in, armor to basically make it, a makeshift cast. I was just like, jeez.
Yeah, if you did not already know that this character has an ironclad will, you know after seeing this survival section of Riddick.
Yeah. And, throughout it's mostly him just kind of being one of those guerrilla guys in the jungle, basically, in terms of, him trying to, make makeshift weapons, getting used to, the terrain around him.
As, kind of experimenting on, to get an idea of how some of the serpent-like creatures, how much venom they have. He finds shelter, eventually finds clean water source. He eventually
gets his dog companion.
Yes, which reminded me a little bit of I Am Legend, but
yeah, that is one way to describe this movie in some regards.
Yes,
but it's and so he's trying to do is basically find a place where he can survive more, but once he basically gets past these opening trials, that's when the story more or less just kind of...
The story proper.
Yeah, it just kind of stops. And, it's... And this is where it kind of reveals the main weakness, that there really is no plot in terms of, what's going on. It's basically just Riddick kind of, sneaking around, trying to get items and find a way to get off the planet. And while all these other mercs and whatnot are just trying to hunt him down.
And to collect the reward, which is now doubled if they kill him and deliver him dead, apparently.
Yeah.
I guess we jumped into spoilers without warning.
Yeah. Well, it's really not much of an issue. It's nothing the trailer didn't already talk about.
Okay.
And yeah, it's mostly just, aside from one scene where, like, Riddick, does a good job laying some traps to take some people out.
Yeah, so when we saw this, there weren't too many people in our theater, and for one of the traps that worked, I couldn't help but utter, damn!
Pretty much everyone did.
And yes, my sentiment was echoed.
Yeah, because that is one of the things that the movie does retain from Pitch Black. It's, good that went back to kind of the R rating, is that it delivers on the carnage pretty well in a few areas.
Oh, yes.
Let's see what else, though. But that's really all this movie's an excuse for. It's just, kind of seeing people get slaughtered. But then again, it's like, after a while, it kind of loses its eventfulness, or inventiveness, creativity, and...
It loses its, I don't know, originality and appeal and becomes kind of predictable after a bit.
Yeah. It doesn't really help that, these are all just a lot of cardboard stock characters.
Yeah, very much so. And there is one slight twist, which is a throwback to Pitch Black, which, if you're a fan of this series, you'll appreciate. But it's kind of a rehash of stories that they've already told in the series.
And unfortunately, it's, the problem, like, compared to Pitch Black, is that it took a lot longer to get there. It's like, basically, it literally...
Like I said, pacing issues.
Like, I'll put it this way. Like, remember I said, like, most of this movie's just him dealing with these mercs? Okay, basically, like, first half hour is him basically regaining his survival skills and whatnot in this land. And then it's an hour of people... like him killing a couple people, then people yammering back and forth about who's going to do it, how they're going to do it.
Yeah. Oh, the reward's mine. Stay out of my way. Oh, I could use your help. Oh, I'm not offering my help anymore.
With one person, and occasionally, they get some pretty good one-liners in, but at the same time, they'll get some really cheesy, just like groaners in there that just like
that really aren't necessary. Yeah.
Like the thing with the lesbian, she got some good lines in, and then, other times there were people who were just like, when they're throwing insults at her, just like, it's just like, that was a little bit too on the nose and not funny.
Pretty much.
She got a few of those in there too, but it's just...
So there were two different sets of bounty hunters who answered a spoiler warning, I guess.
Yeah.
Who answered a kind of distress beacon that Riddick eventually sends out. It's basically advertising, you want to collect the bounty?
Yeah.
I'm here. And it attracts two sets. One is kind of a more rough and tumble.
And the other one's more or less like an actual organized group.
Yes.
And of course,
And the one with the organized group is the one with the lesbian who is second in command.
Yeah.
So
props to them trying to give a strong character, but
it didn't work.
Yeah, it mildly irks me that, like, for some reason, she basically went straight for Riddick. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I mean, that...
It's like...
That kind of bugs me too, and this is...
they didn't stick with their guns.
Towards the end, Riddick makes a prediction that the lesbian will have sex with him.
Didn't quite happen, but, might as well have.
Pretty much. And, okay, I will admit Riddick has an ironclad will to survive and is very resourceful and determined. But
it's basically just him.
It's not realistic that he's going to turn a lesbian. That annoyed me.
Yes, it's not the plethora of creatures, scorpion-esque things, and people bickering amongst each other, but yeah, it's just it's like when it comes to science fiction crap in a sci-fi movie, okay. but like some person who makes it very adamant that
she doesn't have sex with men.
Yeah, and just like It's like it felt more like Riddick or like Vin Diesel kind of Mary sued there.
Pretty much.
But it's just like, okay, we get that you're supposed to be the man's man, but you know, it only goes so far.
So.
Yeah. And also, God, what else? Okay, let's talk about the character's story. Like, that throwback. Now that I get what you're talking about.
Yeah. Do we want to?
Let's not spoil, but
Okay.
let's just say that there is a character connection to the first movie. I thought you were talking about kind of like the plot wise, but
A little bit of both.
yeah. But yeah. What else? I guess we can talk about the acting then. Like, for the most part, was.
Well, I think you pretty much said it, that these characters are all cardboard cutouts. There's not much meat to them. I mean, not saying that the actors don't do a good job with what they're given, but they're not given that much.
Yeah, but I mean, Vin Diesel does a pretty good job with what he has. Katie Sackhoff, she does a good job too, and then the person has a connection to
The first film?
Pitch Black. Yeah, he was all right. Although it was weird knowing that it was some Christian Slater, Jeremy Renner hybrid that just kind of bugged me in the back of my mind. What else?
And yeah, plot-wise, it's left wide open for another one.
Yeah.
The story continues.
Yeah. Anything else to mention? It's just overall just such a bland movie.
It was.
Like, it had some good style, but just overall, just like wasn't really interesting. It didn't help that, like, actually, that was the other person to talk about. Was it Hispanic Mark?
Oh, Santana?
Thank you. I can't remember what the heck his name was, but just like, God, his acting just bugged the crap out of me. It was just like it was over the top and not in a good way.
I agree. It was very off-putting.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if that was the performer or the character or a combination, but...
I'm gonna blame it on a bit of both, but then again, considering the lines that guy had, like, it's kind of hard to really work with it.
And cinematography, in terms of the color scheme and the cinematography, yes, the planet that this story takes place on is not meant to look welcoming, but it is not very visually appealing. So maybe they.
Well, I thought they did a pretty okay job of that, because, like, I mean, that's kind of the point where, like, he's supposed to be on a barren wasteland. It's not really supposed to look appealing.
And it does look barren, and it does look wasteful, and I didn't really enjoy looking at it. So good job if that's what you were going for, cinematography.
And let me see. I'll say this, though. Predominantly, the visual effects look pretty good. I mean,
yes.
There were a couple moments where, like, it kind of, it was pretty fakey, but
what,
for the most part, it...
With the CG serpents?
Yeah, sometimes with them, sometimes with the dog and some other, I guess, kills. But for the most part, though, I mean, it was pretty solid. Like, I know that's one of the things that people really liked about the Riddick films, is that they, in terms of effects, is usually pretty top tier.
At least that's consistent.
Yeah. And is there really anything else worth talking about?
I can't think of anything. We've without the major spoiler, we've pretty much touched on the plot. He calls for basically a ride by pretty much inviting mercs to come get him, and it's pretty similar to Pitch Black in terms of how the rest of the movie unfolds.
Pretty much.
And the acting was just kind of meh.
Yeah.
And
save for a couple of people. I was surprised that Batista actually did okay in there. I mean, when you think a wrestler in a movie, you don't generally think, good acting, but...
You're right. That guy was actually pretty solid. He was one of them. He gave, at least in my opinion, some of the more believable line reads.
Yeah. Oh, God, that was actually the other thing I was thinking about, like, in terms of, like, the visual effects. So there was one thing that just always stood out. That was, like, the wire jumps, where, like, they make those weird leaps of, supposed to be epicness, but they just... Yeah, that was one of the things where they didn't quite do a good job with.
there were a few things, or a few small touches that I enjoyed. Like, one of Riddick's hiding places when they were looking for him.
Yeah.
I thought that was amusing. So.
Yeah.
There are little tidbits like that that may put a smile on your face. So, I think we've touched on most aspects.
Yeah. But, actually, there's one more thing I want to talk about in terms that also factor in the pacing that I kind of thought would have made for a better, like, secondary conflict.
What's that?
Okay, basically, we'll mention how it opens them being marooned on a planet, but we didn't say how. Basically, his homeworld decided, or most likely Vako, as you may know, is like one of the major necromorphs from, or necromongers from Chronicles of Riddick. Basically, it's implied that he set up a trap to, well, more than implied. Basically, he sets up a trap to basically have Riddick killed on the planet, just leave him dead. Leave him for dead. And, just like, after that, they're just gone.
And
I was just like, wait, that's it? It was just, it felt like it would have been a good idea to just kind of have this conflict, the fear, like, these necromongers, they'd want him dead because, like, unless they officially kill him, they're not the ones who, officially get the leadership thing. Oh, they could have easily just BS it. As well as dealing with these, mercs on the side. Or just, like, I thought kind of made for a good, like, three-way triangle of confrontation and conflict.
That definitely would have kept things more interesting, I think.
Yeah. Oh, well.
So,
any final words?
It's okay. I've seen worse this year. I've seen better this year. It's just kind of in the middle. If you're a fan of the series and you like the first one, I'd say see it.
Yeah. Like, it wasn't, like, for me, I didn't quite like it so much, because, like, I think my expectations were a little bit higher based on the fact that, one, they got the original director of Pitch Black back.
That makes sense.
And two, I've been hearing, like, it might actually be slightly better than Pitch Black, but,
it's
just
not.
for me, it was just, it lacked that diversity, the twists.
It's closer to Pitch Black than the other films in the series, from my understanding, but Pitch Black is still better in my personal opinion.
And just like, as we said, it's kind of very, obviously generic characters that all they're meant for is to be kill fodder. Some of the characters, they don't even go anywhere, they're just kind of there. Good acting from a couple of the people, but some of them, they're also just absolutely terrible. Partially blamed on the dialogue they have and whatnot. And just, as we said, just very, very terrible pacing.
Yes, that's the main problem with this film.
Yeah, so it's like, even if they got some good carnage sprinkled throughout, it's just the actual narrative is just so slow and unappealing.
So I'm going to kind of steal a scale from a podcast that I follow and ask, what would you recommend? See it now? Wait for a matinee? Wait for it to come out on DVD? Wait for it to be aired on television, or not see it at all?
I'd say just wait for the cheapest matinee you can find.
Yeah, I'd say the same, or maybe wait to...
Yeah, maybe even wait for the DVD, like, whichever's cheaper.
Yes, wait till it comes out on Netflix or something.
Yeah.
So. And I remember one of the trailers we got, but we got...
It was
4 trailers.
Yeah, none of it was really new, so...
Yeah, so we'll skip the trailers segment this time around. And...
I think that's about it.
Alright, thank you for watching. I'm Sarah for the Michael the Comic Nerd review team.
I'm Grant. You guys have a good one.
See ya.